You know, I had fun while I was there. I had a blast. It just didn't work out for me. So it's been a couple months now, and I've been trying to figure out whether or not I wanted to make this video or do something. But I guess no time's better than the present, right? So did so much work on that truck. Well, relatively speaking, I did some light work. I changed the shocks. I changed the fuel seal. All in all, it was a pretty good truck. You know, circumstances came to circumstances, and well, I found myself in a position to put myself where I actually wanted to be. So, about 6 months before I leased on Swift, I leased on to another carrier in the Chicagoland area. And for those of you who know how those companies work, they play in the gray market, you know, with the logs thing and the line on the rate con, don't show no rate con, line on rate, the whole 9 yards. We already know that. So it was August or September. Probably was like the tail end of August. It was I was having a tough time and the lows weren't just not hitting. At least that's what I was told because I didn't book my own freight. The company I was leased on to MN89. That's who I was. I was leased on the MN89, and it was a crapshoot. So I couldn't book my own loads. I had three different dispatchers. First one was actually the first one was kind of pretty good. The last two pretty much trash. About 3 months in is when I lost my first dispatcher, and funny enough, he actually called me on private, try to get me to go lease at another carrier, but the way that whole situation, how he explained it to me, is I was just gonna be just leasing, not in particularly being able to own the truck, which is the goal. Anyways, if anybody asks you, the goal is to lease the truck and own it. Ownership is the goal. Okay, I'm just gonna put it out there. Ownership is the goal. Anything less doesn't make sense to me. So I didn't go there. Well, I was chilling in Vegas, hot as hell, no load. Felt like I was gonna sit there for a couple of days, and it just wasn't hitting. So I'm just laying in the crib in the back of the bunk. No, this is my crib, but I was laying in the back of the bunk, thinking about what it is that I need to do to better this situation because I have responsibilities, and those checks ain't been coming in right. I've been having to self audit the company because they're charging me for stuff like tolls that I didn't use. They're charging me for weird ass repairs. Yeah, I got to pay for the I had to pay for the trailer fee and repairs on the trailer. It just wasn't adding up. I was making no money. I wasn't making any money. The truck stops were making plenty of money off of me on the fuel because I wasn't even getting the fuel surcharge or a discount. Anyways, sitting there and I asked myself, okay, I know the market's bad. Can't be as bad as what MN89 is telling me. So where can I go that have a large amount of freight? It's kind of sort of protected by all this crazy stuff that's going on. And I could just insulate myself for the time being until a better time comes. Or I could just stay there, do a lease with them, finish it out, get a truck, and move on to my next step and my next goal. And well, Swift was on the top of the list. It was a Swift truck passing by, and I just go ahead and Googled up, and just applied. Got a call, ended up getting approved and everything. So I ended up going to Ohio. I went back home, unloaded the truck, drove the truck back up to Chicago, and caught a plane from the Chicago area to Ohio. But it was a stop in between. You know, I like planes. I love planes. I always wanted to be a pilot since I was a little kid, but that never panned out. So this was a close second. But I always love flying. Little tidbit. So I got to Columbus. That's where the truck that they told me that they wanted me to check out to see. So I went over there, looked over it. It was okay. 2018 Freightliner Cascadia DD15. It's all right. It's basically one of those when Freightliner started coming out with the new model, I guess. So that's that. And it was a pretty decent truck. That was clean. It was all right. They had another truck out there they wanted me to look at as well too, but I ended up just choosing the truck that they told me that I can get. It was cool until my first issue started arising, and it didn't take that long. But to be fair, to be fair, I kind of set myself up for that, and maybe I should have waited until after. But it is what it is. So I let them know at the time I was assigned to my OOC out there in Ocala, Florida, and I let her know at the time that hey, my daughter's birthday is coming up, so I need to go straight back home after I get a load. I need to go straight home. I didn't get a straight home load. I had a connected picked up a load nearby, and it was going down to Georgia, and then I was going to get another load. Well, what was it? The weekend? Yeah, I got down there on the weekend, and the place I was delivering to was closed. They didn't open up until Monday. And I believe my daughter's birthday at the time was on Sunday. Didn't want to miss it. And as long as I've been in this industry, I've never missed her birthday. That was the first time. And that wasn't the last time I missed a birthday. And you know what? I chopped it up, industry thing. Sometimes you're going to miss stuff, sometimes you don't. I was blessed and lucky enough that I didn't have to miss any until then. So then the second major issue, which should have been the time when I should have just left, but instead of letting my emotions get to the best of me, I chose to make a business decision so that I can execute a plan later on down the road. Um, at the time I started trying out doing, because I was doing dry van over the road the whole time, and then I decided I wanted to try to do something a little bit more different so I can be a little bit more closer to the family, so I could be around more often. It didn't work out that way, but I still tried it. So I started pulling containers out of Jacksonville and bring them down to Central Florida and the areas, and either take them back up, or I take them to another place. And one time I parked my truck for the night, and my truck got broken into, and they stole about $4,000 worth of camera equipment and recording gear that I had. They destroyed my TV and my microwave, and we got cameras on the yard, right? You would think that they'd be working. There's like hundreds of trucks, dozens of trucks on the yard that got cameras rolling, and I'm parked in front of these trucks, and I'm parked in a way where the camera from the garage is pointing directly towards my truck, and then there's another camera on a pole not too far that's in my area. So my truck is like literally covered by these cameras. We could find out who broke into my truck, you know. So I go in the office, I let them know what happened. A couple people come out there with me. The shop manager comes out there as well too. They start taking pictures. I already took pictures. He's letting me know, don't worry about it. Your stuff is gonna get replaced. We're gonna replace your stuff. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Now, bear that in mind. He is not the terminal manager, but me, I'm listening to him like, okay, yeah, well, if you guys are gonna replace my stuff, it happened on your yard. Cool beans. We could, it can be taken care of. It's fine. Wait a couple. I wait a week. Didn't say anything because at the time that same day I went in. I went and bought a one of my windows and replaced it and replaced it that same day. Had the shop just replace it so I could keep rolling because I didn't want nothing to stop my money. I didn't want no. I didn't want nothing to stop my money at the time, and I went about my business, did what I had to do. So after about a week, I'm talking to my OOC at the point, and I'm letting know if he heard anything back. He didn't hear anything back, so he told me to go talk to the terminal manager, Gary. I'm gonna name him because it's his terminal. He's supposed to manage it. The funny thing about it is that right, the terminal is supposed to be a secured place. The gates are supposed to be secured in the car parking area and the truck parking area. It's supposed to just be secured all around, and you can't get in the terminal without a badge. You can't get out of the terminal, well, on the truck side, without calling on the call box so somebody can let you out. Okay. Well, the whole time that I've been there, that gate has been broken so many times on both sides. It's been open for weeks on end at certain point, and it was just freaking crazy. People could just walk in and walk out. Come to find out, it's not the first time somebody's truck's been broken into at that yard, or trailers have been broken into. So, you have an issue with with stuff like that, and I'll go and ask them like, "Hey, you guys gonna get at least have some man security walking around at night? At least walking around just to make sure that people's stuff is in your trucks and properties are not being stolen, broken into, anything like that." Apparently, they ain't have money for that. That's a big company, but I digress. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back over here. I like this position better. So I go knock knock. Hey Gary, how you doing, man? Hey, how you doing? I'm like, hey, my truck been broken into, yada yada. We go to talking, yeah, 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 yeah. He gonna tell me, well, since at the time I was doing containers and I was on the container team, I need to call my my manager or whoever the lady was that was, booking my loads and stuff like that, because apparently when I switched over to containers, my OOC wasn't my OOC anymore. He really didn't have nothing to do with me at that point, but he still took care of me the whole time. The whole time that I was there, he tried to take care of me as best as he can. Kudos to him. Robert. I'm talking about Robert. I had 3 OOCs at that point. The first one, she got she got a promotion. I think she became the the big wig for the whole area. And then I had a training girl who started just about the same time as me. She was cool. and she quit. Then I had another lady, and she quit the same day that they assigned me to her. Funny enough, when she called me, she was like, "Oh, did you?" When I called her one time because I had an issue, which was like the same day that they assigned me to her, she called me and told me that she had quit and nobody had told. I was like, "Oh, did nobody tell you that I had quit?" Yeah. So I'm like, "Oh, see," and then I got assigned to Robert at the end. So you know, stayed with him for the rest of my time that I was leasing there. Anyways, Gary tells me I need to go and talk to the container team because they should be responsible for paying for my stuff or whatever. I'm like, okay. I knew it was gonna be some bullshit. Excuse my land. I knew it was gonna be some BS and some running around at that point when you doing that because in my head it's like this is your yard, you're managing it, you're supposed to be responsible for it. But hey, okay, I'm gonna just follow what you say. Call her up. She was like, why would be why would we be responsible for stuff that's broken into on the Ocala yard? We're it's that's not our yard. So I go back to Gary the next day. I'm talking to him, letting him know, hey, this happened on your yard, on your watch. Like, what are you gonna do about it? Now, in between that whole time between then and about 3 weeks later, he was like, "Yeah, I'll look into it. I'll get into it. We'll see." And every week, I'll go back and just ask, just one time a week. I just chose one day out of the week to go confer with him or whatnot. And I guess he went to talk to his higher ups and whatnot. And whole time, I'm getting whispers in my ear from different people on how to handle this situation if it comes back to him not taking responsibilities for it. So, um, what ended up happening? Yeah, the camera situation. It's funny enough. I went in. I kept asking about the cameras. I'm like, "Yo, is the cameras working? Did you guys get any footage?" Couldn't find out the cameras weren't working. Apparently, that night the cameras didn't work. None of the cameras on the yard was working. Ain't that something special? It's got to be something special. So it's like, okay, you have no camera. You don't have no camera evidence. Nobody seen y'all walk by. What about the trucks? Because every single one of these trucks have that little camera system in them. Oh, they only they don't record all the time. Only when an event come on. We know that's BS. These cameras are always recording, and if they wanted to, they could roll back as far as they want to see whatever you was doing wrong. It's only to their benefit, but when it comes to us drivers, it's a whole different story. Whatever. I digress. I'm upset because now you tell me the cameras don't work, and even if your cameras did work, you probably wouldn't give me the information, and the detective on the case was gonna have to request that stuff from you guys anyways. Cool, it's fine, whatever. No cameras working, so I'm thinking, okay, well, your cameras don't work, your gates are shit. They're always broken every now and again. Are you guys gonna be paying for my stuff or not? Or are you gonna replace my stuff? I gave you guys a list of the things that were stolen. Like, are we gonna get those fixed? And I was like, oh well, I'm gonna look up to the higher ups and I'm gonna let you know. I give it another week. I come back. This fool gonna tell me that I need to make a claim on my insurance. Why I need to make a claim on my insurance for? Why do I need to make a claim on my insurance? It happened on your yard. It's your responsibility. How about you just take care of it? You asked me how much it was. I told you it was about $4,000 worth of equipment. And I gave you a line item list and the stuff that actually cost money. I went back and give you the value of those things. Okay. I said, I'm not going to claim on my insurance because that doesn't make any sense. Come back and tell me, well, ain't nothing that he can do. It's we're responsible for our own property on the whatever, yada yada yada, bullshit, bullshit. So I'm like, okay, well, I got emails and I got phone numbers from people, which I'm not gonna name any of them, and they told me, what, if this didn't happen, this what you go do, this what you go do. So I escalated the situation, and I emailed somebody that they told me to email, and I did that. Uh, I think I waited like a day, and I got an email back, and I kind of wish I didn't do this, but at the time I'm like, what else am I going to get done? Like, I could say no and get nothing, or it is what it is. Uh, little email, and the best that I could get was $1,000 sent to my settlement.
Hey yo, what the?
Kind of pissed me off. I did really think about quitting at that time, but I was like, you know what? I can't just get up and just go. Well, I could, but then I have to, go be a company driver. And I don't want to be a company driver. When I left being a company, I didn't want to be a company driver anymore. The whole goal of me to be out here is to someday own something, and I have to do this again. So, in the back of my mind, there was a plan started brewing and whatever, and just little by little, just thinking about different stuff. And over the course of time after that happened, striving, it was all right. Just making money, just doing stuff, and I was slowly being able to put stuff aside for plan B, plan C, and plan D, just in case. My third issue that I had was when the load started coming a little skinny, becoming a little tough. I remember this one particular situation where I was in the North Carolina, South Carolina area, and trying to find me a load. Well, can't find no load. They send you your loads. You accept, deny them. It is what it is. But I'm sitting there waiting for a load. Got unloaded. Sitting there waiting. Get no response. Since I'm not getting any response from the team in the area about getting the load, I called. I called someone. People in Swift, you know who this person is. You call them. They try to find loads for you, specifically for owner operators. Well, this person told me on the phone, well, since I'm in the area that I'm in, it's kind of difficult for her to book loads because the um the team in the area are getting upset because they are booking loads for owner operators. They're going back in and removing them, telling them that we have to wait in line like everybody else because apparently it's a first come first serve, not who's available right now to roll type situation, which makes no sense to me. But it's what happens when you lease at a carrier that has company trucks. You know they're gonna take precedence over you first. You know these are things that you learn. You know as you're going through these motions with leasing with companies. That's why you just don't eat where you shit. You know, don't eat where you shit because it's just gonna give you a big old headache. But she got me a load and I kept it moving. Loads are getting scarce. I call her. She'll offer me loads. They're going to undesirable areas, and I didn't want to go to those places. And sometimes I get some a good area to go to, and yada yada yada. Whole time I'm also thinking about this load board situation that they've been talking about ever since I've been here. Load board's coming. You're gonna be able to book your own loads. Yada yada yada. I'm like, okay, cool, cool, cool. We're gonna see what's going on with that. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait on that. See how that see how that works and whatnot. Load board never came while I was there, or at least it came a couple days after I left. That's the funny thing about it is that it only came after I left, and from what I heard from other drivers and people that I talk to every now and again, it's trash. It's not a load board. It's a load suggestion thing. They don't even give you deadhead. They give you deadhead if one of the planners booked the load for you. But if you pick a load off the load board, no matter how far it is or whatever, you're not getting any deadhead. Which I could understand if you were getting paid percentage, but you're not. You're getting paid on a mileage band, not just one singular mileage rate, and it goes down more miles you drive. Which uh, it was kind of confusing, but it is what it is. It's whatever. Yeah, you got to run your butt off to make money over there because the 2,000 miles ain't gonna cut it. They were averaging drivers at 2,200 miles a week at a time, and that just wasn't gonna cut it. You gotta be able to run at least 3,000 miles to even see a decent paycheck. At least they gave us a fuel surcharge added on top of your rate, so that did help a lot. But what really did help is if you did not use their fuel card, because you're not getting any discounts at all using their fuel card. You have to get your own fuel card if you want to get any type of discount. That's where you're gonna see you making some money at. So there's that. But all the accumulation of things happening and whatnot, it came ahead earlier this year. Actually, it happened in December, right before the year started, and I was having issues with the truck. The stalker switch would not shift. Every time you click it, turn it, it just wouldn't shift. And you have to cycle it a couple of times, turn the truck off, turn it back on, cycle it again, and then it would work. I was sitting at the Atlanta yard, waiting to. I dropped the loaded trailer off, and I was waiting to pick up another load at that point because I wanted to keep running. And they wanted me to go find an empty to go pick up this load. And I believe I was going back down. Yeah, I was going back down into Florida because I was on my way home. And I got up early, early in the morning to go look around for a trailer. There's trailers everywhere, but none of them are loaded, or they all got seals on them, or they all got a lock on them, or something like that. So I'm over there looking around, driving around the truck, on the yard, and I get into a little spot because I believe it was on a weekend as well too. It's packed. If you haven't been to any of the terminals at Swift, especially the Atlanta terminal, it is packed. So it makes it very difficult to maneuver around. It makes it very annoying. And I found myself in a little spot and it was very annoying. I'm like, okay, cool. So I had to turn around because for whatever reason they blocked off the area with other trucks. They came in over there. They came in. They parked. They're gone. They left their truck right there, and they're blocking a straight through area. So I had to back up and turn around and go looking. So when I backed, so what happened was I got to a point where I was getting ready to back up, and I turned the switch to put it in reverse. It went into reverse. Put my foot on the gas. It clicked itself out of reverse because I was very close to one of these. This is how I was very close to a trailer. I put it in reverse, trying to back up. The truck put itself back into neutral, and it rolled forward, and I damaged my driver's side. Um, my driver's side of my hood and my headlights need to be replaced, and some other stuff happened because I think it was a couple of fluids was started leaking as well too. And it's so crazy because it was just this close, caused so much freaking damage. The truck was still able to run, so I actually drove it back up to the front area. They took a look at it, and that's where I found out the power steering I think was broken or something. It was leaking out. Nothing too. It was, missed the whole cooling system up front. Didn't leak none of that. Didn't leak none of that. But power steering broke. But who knows? Okay. So I get in trouble. So I drove it back for a little while, and my insurance, the way my insurance worked is that basically they just cut me a check for whatever damage was happening. And since I already paid for the stuff that happened, now I have that extra money sit with me. They didn't have to put it back in no maintenance account because the maintenance account was building back up. So now I have an excess amount of cash. So took care of some things, still had a whole lot left over. At that time, I had met my buddy James, and he was doing training at the time, and he was going through his little motions, talking to me and trying to convince me to leave and go because he wanted to leave and go somewhere else. He made up his money doing training. He had a brand new truck, but he didn't want to stick with it. He wanted to go somewhere else. So, yeah, he went over to SFI, chilled over there for like a week or two. And the whole time he was trying to convince me, I was like, yeah, it's better off that you come over here and do it, yada, yada, XYZ, ABC. And, you know, I was thinking about it. Well, at first, I wasn't thinking about it at all because I'm like, I'm a year and a half into my lease. I only have a year and a half left. Why I need to swap out, start all over again from the beginning doesn't make any sense to me. I started thinking about it a little bit longer. I'm like, okay, start thinking about the mileage on the truck, the repairs, the stuff I already done did to the truck, how the truck, um, how the truck is, if the truck needs anything else. By the time I'm done paying for this truck, how many miles is going to be on the truck, and at that point, am I going to be out of a warranty spot where I'm going to be having to take coming out of pocket, trying to take care of like bigger repairs. All that stuff was ringing in the back of my head. So I'm thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it. I'm like, all right, I prayed, and the light bulb went in my head. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I have the means to go. I have to start all over again, but it's fine. I'm only going to be stuck in another 3-year lease. It's just the way I thought about it. I was going to be stuck with another year. I just tacked on an extra year and a half of payment on a different lease. So it was a accumulation of things that happened, from my truck breaking in to the loads just being so terrible. Because I'm thinking big fleet, big contracts should be able to keep me moving all the time. I should be able to run because I'm a runner. I'm not a track star, but I'm a runner. And I could be able to do that. And well, it was partly true in the beginning, but after a while, it just came to a point where I just sat more than I was running. The miles kept getting lower and lower and lower. A lot of people at the time was leaving because when I joined, when I was leased on the Swift in the beginning, I think they had about 3, 4 thousand lease operators, and by the time I left, it was down to like 900 and change. So it must have been something in the water. So why am I still sitting here trying to figure it out? So what I just ended up just biting the bullet, and I went to SFI and leased on to Schneider. I do want to shout out Robert though, my OOC. Now I'm a driver leader. It's a clear difference between a driver leader and OOC. Owner ops don't get driver leaders. Driver leaders book load. Owner operator consultants, they help you with the day to day stuff. Any issues that you have, they take care of. Stuff like that. And I got to shout out to Robert. Always had my back. Did what he had to do. When he had to do to take care of me, and I enjoyed the relationship that I built with him because I was able to see him every time I went home. I go and talk to him. I get the lowdown of how freight is working, where I need to go, stuff like that. And then when I'm on my way back out, rinse and repeat, same thing. So I always saw him before I left, and I always saw him before I came in. So I really appreciate everything that that man has done for me during the time that I was there. He a real one.